Welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. The show is designed to give you solutions to your day-to-day management and leadership problems. It's hosted by Matthew Haddock, a frontline manager and leader with over 25 years of experience. If you're ready, then let's get on with the show.
Hi and welcome to the Manager Matt podcast show. Hope you're keeping safe and managing through your people to get the results you're judged on. Please, if you can do me a massive favour and rate the Manager Matt podcast show wherever you get your podcasts, it will help others find the cast and hopefully improve their leadership skills. Also, if you can share this episode on your social medias, it will be really helpful for me also to spread the word of Manager Matt. And as always, please don't forget to drop me a line on whatever you want to engage on. I love feedback on the show, so you can get me at managermattpodcasts@gmail.com. So without any more delay, let's get on with this week's show. Okay, unless you're a one-person sole trader working on your own, you will have to interact with a team, either small or large. With human interactions becomes a set of behaviours which we all expect to see. Most of us, if asked to list what behaviours we want in our teams, would come up with a similar thing. I would have thought, right? Maybe. Well, at first pass, yes, you would agree. But think of how many teams you have been in where there are frustrations, arguments, sideswiping, egos, and sometimes downright chaos. This is usually down to not setting the team behaviours out. Remember, you only see the world through your own lens. Others see it differently. And that's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. If we all saw the same problems in the same way, we'd always end up with the same solution. So it's good having diversity, and you don't want to be surrounded by yes people in your teams. We all seem to understand what we should expect from our team members, both in our peer groups and our subordinate groups. So why do managers not go through the behaviours with their teams and get them on the same page? Like you would do with any standard procedure, you train it out. But when it comes to behaviours, we don't seem to do that. I can tell in my experience as a manager and a leader, this works and will pay you back massively in the long run by managing to share it. So what are these behaviours? What are the magic key to this teamwork? Well, I'm going to share what I believe is the positive team behaviours. And as I said before, they're through my worldview. Remember that. They could be different for you and your teams. But it's a good starter to start working through these. And obviously, if they're different to teams in different environments and sometimes in different cultures, different parts of the world would have different ways. But this is what I expect from my teams and the way I've shared them with my teams over the years. And the first one, it may be a little bit unusual for some people. It's the fact that you need to be able to ask for help without being judged in a team. Pride and that ego can get in the way of this. You're the expert. You're the department head. You should know everything, right? Well, obviously not. But sometimes people don't want to open up and admit there's an issue. They don't want to reach out for help. That can be the fact that they don't trust them, and they'll get onto those points about behaviours in a minute. But it's also going to be down to an ego. A pride that almost locks them for wanting to reach out for help, or even a fear. And fear can be a big thing in a team. A fear of being judged, that they don't know. Oh, what was he supposed to be the managing this, and he doesn't know anything. And there's two ways of looking at this. One is you should be confident to reach out in your team. But also, you should also not judge others when they reach out. Because if you were in their shoes and they were asking you for help, you'd hoped that you wouldn't judge them. So that first point is to ask for help without being judged. Second one is trust that the team has your back. As a team, you need to trust the person on your left to cover the gaps. If you're in a sporting team, you all work together to hopefully end up with the win that you need. But why in some teams do we not trust the team members next to us? And that can again be through an ego or through processes where people haven't delivered what they say. But there's a big thing that if we can trust our teams to have your back, you end up being able to relax and get on with your work a lot better and obviously function better as a team. Be yourself in front of your team is my third point. So why do we wear that mask? It's really difficult not to put up these defences when you're at work, but sometimes you need to be open with people. And also that point of being open in front of them as a team member, both as a boss or as a peer, will help yourself become stronger as a team player. And being yourself also is so much easier than trying to pretend to be somebody else. That leads into my fourth point, to be vulnerable and open without judgment. Back to my initial point about asking for help, this vulnerability. We know outside the walls, as humans, you have good and bad days. You know, the cat will get sick. You will have to go home early to look after the boiler that's broken. So share that with others. Don't have this secret thing of disappearing off. Be honest, be human. They're going to have the same issues. And then they can maybe help you. Back to that idea of covering the gaps. If you're vulnerable and open without judgment of others and yourself, you can then understand that person. They'll have so much going on in their world. If you get to know that person and they can be vulnerable with you and you can be vulnerable with them, it makes such a big difference in your team as a behaviour. Now, this is a good one. Something I always love to do in my teams is have a laugh and enjoy yourself. It's part of that being yourself, but spend a lot of time at work, sometimes far, far too long. So why not have some fun? It's not all work, work, work. Human moments. Feel the fact that sometimes you can just enjoy yourself. Work doesn't have to be a sterile place. It can be fun. It can be a laugh. In fact, you can enjoy yourself so much getting out of bed in the morning that you actually don't realise how fast the days go. So that point there is have a laugh and enjoy yourself. The next point, be able to take feedback from a place of trust. You can see the lines that I'm running through here. It's all about trust. It's all about being yourself, but also able to take feedback. As a podcast show, I ask for feedback all the time, but in work I ask for feedback. No matter what the role or position, you need feedback. It should be the food of a manager. It should be the thing that nourishes you and drives you forward. So if you can get your team to open up and give you feedback, well, what a great place to be. And the last point in my sort of way of working around teams is have a debate, which is about the mission and not the person. And this is one way people do fall down. It's very easy to get personal when there's someone challenging your department or the way you're working or your performance. But realistically, if you're all going for the same purpose and you've all got the same behaviours, you can push on delivering results without it become a debate about it being the right or the wrong thing at a personal level. And of course, that leads on to the fact of being able to call out when you're not living those values or purposes in a safe way, in a confident way. Be able to challenge. When you've got these values in your team and you're working towards that big purpose together, you can all then, in a safe way, challenge each other and be able to call out when you're not living the values. Now, that can happen in a good way, but it also, when people don't buy into this process, this is when people will probably naturally have to leave your team. It gets to the point where they won't want to take the feedback. They can't live in that environment. And you do find some team members just can't cope with this way of working and will leave to another, maybe progressive or regressive kind of leadership style. There's a few more that you really need to look at the end of it, and that's around things like celebrating the wins. Talk about it not being work, work, work. So when do you have a planned celebration or when do you do ad hoc celebrations? When can you align these behaviours to the rest of your teams? So you've got a set of behaviours. When do you roll it to the rest of your teams? So they understand what you're working to as a higher team. Then they can do the same about their behaviours as a lower team. And have that idea of this team has a collective accountability and responsibility for what they're doing. So we are not saying it is X's fault, we're saying it's the team. Yes, they may be accountable for that or responsible for that, but the accountability of the whole is around delivering those results. And of course, you've got to always make sure that you are in an actionable environment which will deliver the results. At the end of the day, it's great having these behaviours, but if you're not delivering the results, then why have you got the team together? And the last point is, when you get to a point where people can't really get to these behaviours, are they actually playing for the first team? Are they playing for the team that you're there, or are they playing for their own team? And you as a leader, if you're in that situation, need to challenge that person about exactly where their loyalties go. Because if they're still not getting the idea of this team and the behaviours of the team, then they're not playing the same game as you. Well, thanks for listening. And as always, I'm keen to hear your thoughts on the show, both good, bad or indifference. So please send me your feedback, as it's a gift, to managermattpodcast@gmail.com. I answer all my own emails and always make sure I'll get back to you within a day or two, and would love to engage with you on new and old topics. And also there's the website to visit. That's www.managermatt.co.uk for more information. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this Manager Matt podcast. We hope you found it interesting, helpful and actionable. One last thing, please please leave a quick review on iTunes or with your podcast provider, as it helps to spread the word of Manager Matt. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the podcast, and if you did like anything in particular, send an email to managermattpodcast@gmail.com or visit managermatt.co.uk for more content. Feedback is a gift, so let's keep giving. See you next week.